starting at 4 a.m. and the across the pond room starting at 4 a.m. And then we come into this room at 5 a.m. and the rooms usually go to about 10 a.m., sometimes a little longer. And we have rooms popping up all over the place in the evening. Now they are happening anywhere, Monday through Friday. You can find all different kinds of rooms, from relationship to business building to sharing your wins, which we had an exciting room last night of sharing your wins. And you can find them all over the place. They are exciting rooms happening in the evening also. So, Health, are you prepared and ready to take over the mic now?
Absolutely, y'all. We had a live room last night. Listen, when I tell you I am beyond excited, I want to start you off with a clip because this is what we're going to do, because this is what Viktor Frankl was encouraging us to do. I got a 27-second clip for you.
Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are rolling to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer, gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
That's what me and Meghan want you to do. Feel it in your bones. Keep on keeping on. We're getting ready to drive down Hope Lane with Viktor Frankl's book. I am Shawnte Health Wells. Listen, your injury prevention expert. Listen, I'm here to make sure that we actually take a moment to come and address the biggest injury to America's health system, which is heart disease and hypertension. The one thing that took the most important person to me, which was Maybelle Wells. And that is why I have the passion that I do. That is why I take the stand that I do. And that is why I want to encourage everyone on the sound of my voice to continue, keep on keeping on, and to move forward in life. That's what's so important about Viktor Frankl's book. If you've never heard of the book, I'm definitely going to drop a link to it in the chat. Man's Search for Meaning, or I'd like to put my twist and say A Woman's Search for Meaning. Happy early Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I want to get us started with some gratitude for some moms. So if you guys know of a mom, or if you want to shout out your own mom, but I'm asking anywhere from 2 to 5 moms, I want y'all to show some mom love this morning. And I want to find out, who are a few mothers that you are grateful for? It could be some of your friends who are mothers. It could be, other relatives who are mothers. But let's love on some moms this morning. I'll start us off. I am so very grateful for my friend Adina and the type of mother that she is to her son, Jason. Meghan, what moms are you grateful for?
Oh, I'll go first. Good morning.
Go for it.
I'm sorry, Meghan. I'm grateful Mama Waba next door to me. Mama Waba. She is the powerful mom that I know in my neighborhood. I see her every day pushing and being so powerful as a mom. So I just wanted to share her, shout her out.
Woohoo! For Mama Waba. Meghan, go for it.
I think about moms, and I think about collective moms. I have been a mom for years, 54 years, and I have been a friend of so many women, and a colleague, I guess, in the momhood, with so many. And it's about that heart. It's that heart link that connects all moms. But of course, my own mother and my grandmother, who was just so powerful in my own personal life. So all moms, really, it's a job linking arms together, doing it together. Like the women, years ago at the river, or weaving baskets, doing the laundry or weaving baskets or what have you. It's everyone doing life together. That's how I think about moms. I couldn't have done what I did as a single mother without my sisters. Couldn't have.
Woo! I absolutely love that share. I like that gratitude share. Patty, I think I saw you on miking. Do you have a mom you want to share a little gratitude for? I'm not sure if it's my phone, you know, sometimes how Android is. Patty, I can't hear. I think I saw you on mic, or I don't know if it's the screen glitching.
I always used to tell Monica with the Android that androids are liars. I she was on mic, but I didn't hear her earlier. I still don't hear Patty.
Oh, you might have that clubhouse virus. That's what I call it. You might have to pop out and pop back in. It has gotten me so many times. I'm not even gonna talk about how many times it kicked me out yesterday. So usually if I pop out and pop back in, then the mute and unmute button will work. Is there anyone else on stage that would like to shout out a mom or moms?
Yes, it is. Good morning, everyone. This is Tanya. I am grateful for my grandmother and my mom for raising me into the woman that I am today. And I'm grateful for all mothers, you know. Mothers are so special. We have that special heart, and we just make it. He said, Happy early Mother's Day. I'm Tanya, and I give my mind.
Woohoo! Anyone else have some mom gratitude? Some moms they want to shout out?
I'll shout out my mom. My mom's awesome. She's just the most kind person. She's just very, very sweet all the time. But then I give a shout out to one of the moms that lives on unfortunately, her son passed away. That was the father of my son, one of his best friends. And we call her Nana. Everybody calls her Nana on the street. And she will take all the kids from the street, like just I live on Sandy Hook, and she'll take them all in every single day, feed them. She puts them on the trampoline, has fun, and she's just the best. And I love her so much.
Absolutely love that. We gotta put some hearts. We gotta put some hearts in the chat for these moms, these mom loves. Anybody else want to shout out to moms? Thank you so much for that, Chris. We're sharing a little mom gratitude.
Patty, you still can't. Patty, that happened to me this morning. I actually had to go out, close the whole app down, and come back in before anybody could hear me. I know, it was crazy. Something's going on. It's been happening a lot this week. So I like to thank me. In the words of Snoop Dogg, I'd like to thank me. My son is still sending me updates at his job on how things are going. To have the relationship I do with my son at 28, where he still sends me first day of work pictures like it's the first day of school. I'd like to thank me for so I just am very thankful for that. That's why the relationship with my son, very thankful.
Woohoo! See, you stole my share, Mary Lynn. I was gonna shout you out. I was gonna do 3 more. So yes, I absolutely love that. You are a phenomenal mom, and I love the relationship that you have, and that you've raised a phenomenal human. And not to mention, our kids are like literally the same age, like a week apart. Mine was born on Dora's birthday. So it's super fun. I love it. Anybody else want to show some mom gratitude? Some moms, any moms in your life that have crossed your path that you just want to give a shout out to? All right. Sounds like all hearts and minds are clear. I don't see any in the chat, so we can keep this train going. So I have here above my head an interview that I did with Meghan this past Wednesday. It was phenomenal, you guys. I said I would be doing a giveaway. So for the first person that clicks that links and simply, types in Hope Lane in the comment section, because that's where we're going, I am going to send you this lovely book, or I'll give you a choice of another book, which was written by Meghan. So we want to start this off with some giveaways and some fun. Okay, Patty, you're back. I want to give you that opportunity before I do that giveaway. Patty, go for it.
Check 1, 2, 3. No? Hello?
We hear you. You got it.
Hello? We hear you. Oh my gosh. Okay.
past laryngitis. I know it's not my first rodeo either. It's so annoying. Anyway, I agree with everybody's shares, and I was laughing out loud, Marilyn, when I heard Snoop Dogg. That was good. That was a good one. Mary Magdalene is what I want to say. Mary Magdalene. I am just so grateful for Mary Magdalene, because that was a tough walk, and then what she had to witness, to see what her son had to go through, and just having that faith, and just going against all odds, and just listening to God, our Father, our Creator, and I'm just very, 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 very ever so thankful for her walk, and with that being said, happy Mother's Day to everybody. And there was one more thing that was bubbling up, and now I don't remember. So with that, back to you.
Well, we always make it interactive. So if it comes back, you'll definitely get another opportunity to share. Kathy, welcome to the stage. You guys definitely share this room. Ping some folks in. We are going to get this train leaving this station as we drive down Hope Lane. Meghan, we're talking about this book.
Wait.
Yes.
Could you just give me 1 second so I don't lose it? This is what I came back. There's only one ticket in, and that's through a mom. Just saying.
Oh, we got to give her some fire for that. That was a bar, right?
That's so good. Very good.
All right.
Take it in.
Yes.
Love it.
So Meghan and I did this interview, you guys. I highly recommend, not just because I was on there, but she has a phenomenal podcast, and I love getting to go back and check out some of the replays. And when I tell you, like, she is just a phenomenal human. This is something that we can just continue to pay forward by simply subscribing, playing some social currency. But the first person that leaves a comment, and puts in specifically Hope Lane. So I know that it was you, tapping into that interview real quick and leaving us a quick comment. I am definitely going to send you a gift, and I keep my word. Patty is a living witness. Mary Lane is a living witness. Listen, I send. When I do a giveaway, I actually send what I promise. So, I want to get to my first question for you, Meghan, and we're talking about this phenomenal book, and I want to also know, we're going to open the floor for sure in a minute. Is there a story that spoke to you most from the book? We're talking about the book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Is there a story within the book that really, truly spoke to you the most that he shared?
Well, as I shared, health, I haven't totally finished the book, but I want to share how I was drawn to the book and then bring it back to the story. I was on Clubhouse back in the day in Dr. Finance's room, Anthony Crinity. It was every Friday night, and it was a huge room, and it was a room that was started by Kate Hancock in the beginning of Clubhouse. And one night he had Dr. Bernie Siegel on, and Dr. Bernie Siegel is Jewish, and Dr. Bernie Siegel is from Brooklyn, and Dr. Bernie Siegel is a cancer surgeon. And Dr. Bernie Siegel, though, spoke about Viktor Frankl and spoke about how impactful his book, Man's Search for Meaning, was to him and his practice, and that he ascribed to hope and love for treating his cancer patients, and that how when he was working with them, just worked with positive affirmations and love and hope, and that when he was doing surgery, and here's a Jewish man speaking and praying over as he opened the person up, so to speak, and was doing surgery, how he prayed and spoke affirmations of love and hope over that person. And he said his success rate, so to speak, of healing was huge. And he really gave the credit to Viktor Frankl and having his stories of hope and of love and of, just knowing, that visualization of understanding that it's that mind that is going to help with that survival. And so that's what drew me to the book. And so I bought it, and have been reading through it. And I often do this because when I love something, I just want to stay with it. And the thing that most affected me or drew me or spoke to me about this book was Viktor Frankl's and the essence, guys, throughout this book is not just about his travails. We speak about Mother's Day and mothers. Many of us are single mothers and single parents. And so I look at, life not as travails, but and loss, but this source of strength and the essence of to survive. And that to me is really the essence of this book, is about not just that the atrocities that he experienced and everyone that around him, but the essence, that source and the strength to survive. So I would say that, it's really about, and again, when I heard Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's now probably close to 90 or over, and how he continues to speak about Viktor Frankl and his story, his books, his life, his philosophies, how it really impacted his life.
Absolutely love that. And Megan, feel free to pin your link at the top there. I was trying to search in the background for it so that we could put that so that people can see how they can further connect with you. And
Sure.
I absolutely love that reflection that you just had. For me, as I had shared on Wednesday during our interview, this was introduced to me actually in school. Like, the biggest thing that I got from that is that I saw like a blueprint in this as to how to, and I got this specific phrase from Marie Forleo, Marie TV. That's another great podcast you guys should definitely check out. But she talks about scripting your setbacks. And I feel like Viktor Frankl, it really truly gives you that type of a blueprint when you're faced with some of the deepest and darkest things in life or challenges or circumstances. And I know that I've yet to meet a mom that hasn't been faced with a big challenge. I just don't think it's possible to get through motherhood at all, really and truly, life, especially in the modern times, without going through some type of either a trauma or a setback or a challenge, whether it being your health, your wealth, your family, something. You're going to be faced with something. And I felt like Viktor Frankl's book, it was such a gift to be given as a high school, student, because I continue to see just a way out. It's like no matter what happened, like there was an underlining of resilience and like a pathway, a blueprint to get through setbacks. So I love that you had your reflection, Megan. So what's one of the things that drew you to the book?
Well, as I said, health, really was the understanding. And again, this is a thread of my life, and that is why my book is about hope. Hope and possibilities just over the horizon. It's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. And when you get the understanding that life is difficult, and it's really one of the first things that one of the first quote unquote self-help books I ever read. I was about 22, 23, and it was Scott M. Peck's book, The Road Less Traveled. And the first sentence in that book, the first sentence is that life is difficult. And until you accept that it's difficult, it will become more difficult. And that's really one of the reasons that, and, I still was married at that time. I was not a single parent yet. And, but I was navigating, as you said, blueprint. I was navigating life and learning about life. I was a very young mother and was never did not work. Always had my vision and, my vision of doing a creative thing. And so I was always working, but also a parent. I have a daughter who's 54 years of age or 53, almost 54 in a couple of weeks. And so he spoke when I read his book or reading his book, Man's Search for Meaning. Basically it is about that understanding that it is about challenges. Nothing is easy, but it's about continuing on. And one of the things that he wrote, he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. So if you understand that why, that, and that's Nietzsche, and that was one of his favorite authors, but he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. And so Viktor Frankl understood his why, and his why was to live each day and to take each day and to understand the blessing of each day. The fact of you started the room with gratitude, meaning the fact that we open our eyes each day and take a breath. I say to the Lord every day, thank you, Father, for this day, this day that you have made. And so he understood the blessing of that day, and he understood how important taking that day was and making the most of it.
Ooh, that was just, oh, we got to let that breathe for a moment. Oh, that was so much. I was actually, one of the messages that I had, the points that I put down was him referencing Nietzsche, in the, I listened to it on audio as well. It's just something that really helps me, but I didn't realize that it is one of his favorite authors, and that's why he's probably referencing him in the book. But it's so key, and I don't want us to miss what you just said, Meghan, because like that why is so important, so very important, not only just for mothers, but for any just person, any individual person, to continue on. I just don't know how long you can continue if you don't have a why, because there's a certain point of apathy, which is one of the things, the underlining things that I noticed that he wanted to address. And he talked about the unchecked apathy, and seeing how that desensitized response started to happen to the brutality and all of the gore and the just the horrible and horrific things that they were experiencing in those camps, that there was a sense of apathy that would take hold, of people. And he was talking about a guy that he was literally just talking to an hour prior to, and he saw his corpse like staring back out at him, as he was trying to get, they were definitely damn near starved, excuse my French for lack of a better phrase, the just how underfed they were and forced to work under those conditions. He mentioned that, just that, to the outside looking in, it would seem as if that they had no sensitivity. And in that moment, there was a sense of desensitized, I guess, feelings of it. Like it wasn't going to make him stop, trying to nourish himself, seeing, the corpse staring through, back at him, and, just cautioning us, if you will, for not resting into apathy and making us desensitized to the things that may be going on in our families, that may be going on in the people's lives on our teams and in our businesses, or colleagues and people that we're working with, or people in communities such as this. It's just, I think, apathy is something that we just definitely don't want to have unchecked. And I'm curious to know what comes up as you're hearing about what drew me and what drew Meghan to Man's Search for Meaning. For any of you, if any of you have read it, or if you have a takeaway or something that you'd like to share that has come up as we're discussing this book, feel free. I see Patty. Go ahead.
I did not read the book. I'm going to put it on my list. Thank you for sharing insights. The word that came up in my spirit just now with this last share was with apathy is, when you're feeling indifferent, neither here nor there, a lot of people will think like that's a good place. However, recheck, because when you're not feeling, that's a red flag. And thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. I just, like it's so key, but it's also, if we don't have hold of what you said, Meghan, the why, like I think it's so easy. Like I know for me in 2019, and it's interesting that, one of the greatest blessings came into my life that very year because that's when my granddaughter was born. But it was one of the darkest, the start of that year. I really didn't want to make it through the new year. I can just go ahead and admit that to you guys because I lost sight of my why. I really thought like it was over, Megan. I really had lost a sense of purpose, and motherhood had been such a big part of my identity, and I was having such a hard patch of time with my daughter and with my mother at the time. And I just thought like what's the point? What is the point of me continuing on? And it was a friend of mine, a powerful dad. I told him, I was like, you were, God used him to truly save my life, that he really reminded me of my why and the work that I had put in on my relationships with both of them, as well as relationships within the community and all the work that I was doing, in South Florida. And I think it's so key. Knowing your why could save a life. Being reminded of your why could help you continue on. And I don't know if someone under the sound of my voice got to the point of apathy or despair that I reached at the point of where I was. I am a suicide survivor for sure. And when I tell you, having that why is so, so important. It is important, Megan. So I'd love to know. Yeah, go for it.
It is all important. I'm just listening to sharing that, and not only being transparent with that, Shawnte, but Liz, having spent a time, everyone do need, it's not because it's on my live on YouTube and podcast, but I have had so many comments from people. One is Nate Forrest who is the founder of the social media room here on Clubhouse, but he was very impacted by you, Shawnte. And one of the things he said to me, he actually called me, and he said one of the things he shared with me was your joy, your joie de vivre, your power of hope. And to hear you say what you just said is very impactful, guys, because that means that in a moment's notice, things can shift and things can change. And it's critical to have that inner audit and understanding that the enemy is always looking to grab hold. And it's so powerful. One of the that you shared that because, again, anyone that knows you or listens to you, Shawnte, knows how joyful you are and how committed you are, and your why. And I mean, I'm very clear on what your why is, to helping others in their journey of health and the whole homeostasis of a human, to be connected with joy, the mind, body, spirit, and very clear. But you, for a moment's notice, you lost that. One of the things that in the book, it says, he said, they died from less from lack of food or medicine than from lack of hope, lack of something to live for. And that's what you just said. You lost sight for a moment. You lost sight of your why. And it is so critical, guys, that we are, and that why, and when you know what it is, but it will always evolve, always. You can take that to the bank. I mean, in my book, there's a chapter, it says, get off the couch. And we had moved to Connecticut from closer to New York City, and I was working and doing and navigating my life. And we moved to this town, and we had one car, and we were about 15 miles outside of town. Well, I couldn't walk with a small child 15 miles. And so I was getting, I would say, on the borderline depressed. And I, was watching soap operas, and my daughter was playing there with Legos, and I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I was losing sight of who I was, what I was, and my why to create, to do, to keep going. And one day I just said, that's it. And when I was in the grocery store, I bought the local paper and saw that there was a newcomers club. And I had a car occasionally when my husband was in this carpool. And so I, positioned it that I went to this newcomers club. Have no idea where my daughter was at that moment, but obviously found a babysitter and went, and my life changed and forever. And I mentioned earlier my mom connections, and it was my girlfriends that I began to meet that day in that newcomers club. I met Beverly, Avery in that newcomers club, and we are still friends today, and navigated life together. And so get off the couch no matter where you are. And that's what you did, Shawnte. At that moment, you said, I have to go back to my why. And what is that purpose? Why am I and why do I feel this way? We must go in and do a mindset reset, because setbacks are only setups for comebacks. And but we have to keep going. It's not about stopping. It's about, I see my girl Angeline just coming into the room. She is an amazing, I couldn't even really do what I'm doing without Angeline Moore. Not even, but meaning this Propel deep dive that we did, Shawnte. She's the producer of it. She keeps it organized. She keeps it streamed out to everything, onto all the podcasting platforms. Yes, I write the material. I do the graphics, not I, but my other mom, link there, Elizabeth Hauser, who's been with me 13 years. This is my team. I can't do life alone, but it's about getting off that couch, guys, and taking that step and not stopping.
Absolutely. And you know how I feel about Angeline. I've told you, I literally would not be in the 21st century electronically in any way if it was not for the Kingdom Sparkle Agency. Meghan, she really, truly, I was telling you, just the humanity in which, because I feel like sometimes when people are explaining tech or even talking about it, they can kind of, if you're not someone that's as knowledgeable as them, sometimes you can feel talked down to. And she really talks up to you and teaches you, and with humanity. I just love her heart.
But let's not leave, amen, amen, amen. But let's not leave your moment of despair. Let's not leave that, Shawnte, because, and I'm going, and Mary Kim just gave a heart. Let's not leave that, because let's stay with that moment of despair. You said you got into 2020 and that moment was evolving, and that can get out of control. So how did you get here? I'm interviewing you. How did you get out of that moment of despair and confusion and loss of hope?
It was honestly through community. See, there was my friends hadn't realized that I was giving them my goodbye, with the exception of one. So when you go through the amount of loss, and I had really gone through probably the worst type of betrayal a human can go through. And so that was kind of like the nail that put the nail in the coffin of me just saying, you know what? There's just no point. There's no purpose to any of this. I had lost my mentor. I had lost my Nana. I just really, truly, and my dad had just moved away. His wife was battling cancer. It just felt like there was just nothing going right at that time. I just felt like I was really, truly like a Job, having a Job et type moment. And it just felt like there was nothing left. I really, truly couldn't see the why. I wasn't even able to tap into something that has always pulled me back, which is knowing what my grandparents sacrificed for us to be there. I really completely lost sight of the why until my friend literally left work and told me to pull over to the side of the road because I actually had planned to drive over the bridge, going to the beach. I was just tired of all the losses, and I just felt like that was the last thing that I could control, was whether I was going to still be here. And I agreed to pull over to the side of the road, and just so he could have a quick conversation with me that ended up obviously turning things around, and say, hey, let's just stop for a cup of coffee. That's turned into a meal, and it just gave him a moment. Just, ask me what's something that you're grateful for, just right now in this moment. I know that you believe in gratitude. He used gratitude to get that in, and then he went into the why. He started recalling all of the why and all of the things that we've both gone through as parents, and also, in our families, and dealing with some of our parents. And that was that thing. He really, truly started with gratitude, and then he went right into the history of my why, and getting me to see that I would be letting the enemy win if I didn't pick up my mantle and get back on and get the why right back in view of me. But it was that shift in focus to my why. That was the only way that I got out of that despair, is he got me back to my why. Otherwise, I was committed to ending my life that day. I'm telling you, Meghan, I know, like, I know that I know, like, I was done. I was really done. I just really I didn't see a reason to continue on. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I would have never gotten to meet my granddaughter.
Wow. I mean, we are all grateful, and that's the essence, is that the enemy wants you to be so focused on self instead of you going out. And like, you spent a lot, and I'm not minimizing this, but meaning the importance of what your grandmother did, and you mentioned it here, Maybelle, and James, your grandfather, and the sacrifices they made, but what she instilled in you. And as you were sharing this, I'm thinking about how important your daughter, and like you said, you had not met your granddaughter yet, but meaning you had to go, instead of your friend helped you get out of yourself, and understand that you giving of yourself to your daughter and your people, and then people like us who are waiting to meet you, that's the other thing. That's where that over the horizon is so important, because there's infinite possibilities over the horizon. We just have to keep going. But when the enemy wants us to be so inner focused, and there's I have various notes here from Man's Search for Meaning, and it said, in contrast, Frankel kept himself alive, Shawnte and everyone, and kept hope alive by summoning up thoughts of his wife and the prospect of seeing her again. And so your friend had to get you out of yourself and into, meaning not what you lost, and yes, not minimizing that, but what you were going to, the why, which is helping others, including your daughter. And so it's getting outside of yourself and going forward. And his prospect of seeing her again, and by dreaming at one point of lecturing, wow, after the war, about the psychological lessons to be learned. He already knew that. How amazing is that? Meaning that he knew that he was, I don't want to say special, but he understood what his mindset was doing was helping him survive, and that he was going to share it with others. He already knew that. Wow. I mean, that just really was so powerful to me when I read that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, it's the why. And I'm so grateful that my friend, before we went our separate ways, he also reminded me of what I had said about my grandmother, and the fact that she's not ready for you to come there. She's not ready for you to meet with her yet on the other side. There's more work for you to do. And that it's in that moment that I remembered the thing that has always pulled me back, is I would follow those breadcrumbs of my grandparents, and also to Viktor Frankl's book. And honestly, when I went home, guess what I dug out, Meghan? I dug out that book. And it really, truly helped me step by step. I went and reread it and I started piecing my life back together again.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You know, that's also so powerful in high school, which I mean, I wish I could go to that high school, what you shared about it. But with that said, you were introduced to this powerful understanding in high school. Wow. And as you shared earlier, how they utilized this book to break it down and to help you guys understand the importance of your why and not lose sight of that at such a young age. But again, life beats us down, and don't minimize that, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a human condition. But we have to use everything, such as books, Clubhouse, other people, podcasts, so forth, and the Word of God, to remind us that He is always with us, always with us. My favorite scripture, actually one of my foundational scriptures, and this aligns with this, is Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of Holy Spirit you may abound in hope. So again, it says, you're not doing this alone, guys. The Holy Spirit, which is in us all, is here for us, and that hope is with us always. Just be aware of it, and that's what this whole segment is about: bringing this awareness of hope and understanding that it's available to all of us at a moment's notice, at any time. But don't stop.
Absolutely. And I think that was such a key thing because I definitely had, struggles prior to that moment in 2019, Megan. But I think just the foresight of our teachers, I was mentioning to Megan on the interview that I went to the same high school as Jeff Bezos. And I not just bragging just because like I went to Miami Palmetto Senior High School, but there are some truly phenomenal humans in the way that public education was done there. I just wish that other kids could have had the level of exposure because they really truly thought about what it takes to be a whole person, what it takes. They groomed us for entrepreneurship. They're not I don't recall, and I don't know of any school unless they have an entrepreneurship academy that really grooms you through every subject and the importance on leadership and business, as well as scripting your setbacks, as if they knew that we would be faced with challenges. This was a required, like our main search for meaning was if you were graduating high school, this was 12th grade. Our English teachers. And I think about what we faced in college for those who went on to college, it was such a key thing. And I hope that others, maybe with teenagers or young adults, this could be that ticket. There may be something within this book, that helps. And I think a lot of times we make assumptions because we see people who are, I heard TM say, check on your strong friends. Like we can assume that maybe they are always that way or that you've never encountered something. And I feel that people do that with moms a lot, as if like moms are not humans, or as if moms don't have, emotions, Megan, or low points, or that, just I feel almost like I call it otherizing. I feel as though sometimes we otherize moms and not realizing or seeing the humanity and all of the feelings and the normal day-to-day things that moms are impacted by. But as it's as if we're supposed to, be like this movie I saw, was it Iron Fist or Iron Woman, that talked about the woman in England. Gosh, Meryl Streep played her. Why is her name escaping me at this moment? But almost as if you don't have a moment to be, just emotional, or just, not okay in a moment, or feeling whatever feelings that comes up. I just feel like that happens a lot when we otherize people or otherize moms in a way that they can't be human. I don't know if someone else had something to come up, for them concerning, that, or anything that me and Megan have shared thus far. Floor is open. David, is David unmiked, or is this my phone glitching again?
I think
Or
it's your
Trisha?
phone glitching again.
Okay, Trisha, did you, or someone, was someone trying to pop in?
Sometimes- Yeah, I think sometimes that moms take on that identity of being a mom, and they don't take on the single place of being just a person. And we take on that responsibility of being a mom and not an individual. So I think sometimes we need to have that individualism of being just the person, and that's important.
But I think that's, again, Trisha and everyone, I think that's where friends are like you said, other eyes. That's where friends and, as I was saying back in, history where women just in the villages banded together, we've lost that. And there's so much oneness and aloneness. And we absolutely, that's one of the collective heart links here on Clubhouse and other things like this, is that banding together. It's so critical because otherwise we're not machines. We're not emotionless. We are humans, and we have to fill our cup again with each other. And I mean, again, that's another reason why in work and business and life, that's why I share about Angeline. It's not just about doing you said the best help about the humanism, not feeling like you're crazy, or not crazy, but incompetent in the realm of electronics, just breaking it down into small, manageable parts. So it's humanistic. It's bringing life together. And it's so important to just link our arms and share together. So critical. We can't do it alone. Cannot.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here, Meghan, if I tried to do life alone. It was my community that stepped up, specifically one of my friends, an officer at that. It's not easy for a police officer to just leave their shift. So that's why I knew it was nothing but God. It was nothing but God. That was divine timing. Is there anyone else I know Dr. Jen, you said you were introduced, I think in college, to the book, Man's Search for Meaning. This is such a powerful book, you guys. So I just wanted to give space if there is anyone that had a share pertaining to the book, or maybe something that came up for you as Meghan and I have been discussing this topic of Man's Search for Meaning today. Okay, I want to go on to
I'm sorry. I was trying
Go
to
for
come off I actually just woke up and I'm coming in and I'm loving the conversation. But yeah, I just reinforced what I said last night, that the book is that absolutely life changing and life altering when you read what this man endured and how he endured it. And at such a young age and the tragic circumstances around it. The fact that you were able to read it in high school is phenomenal. It should be mandatory reading in every high school. I didn't read it until my first years of college. And yeah, so it's just I stand by everything that you're saying about this book, and it's real. And there's just a few books that I would suggest that people read, by it being mandatory reading to be a human. And this would be at the top of the list, I have to say, one of the first three. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
What are your other two, Dr. Jen?
Well, I have several actually, but one is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon
Oh,
Hill.
yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that book it'll make you mad. And I actually suggest that people, if you can, get the Audible version, because they did such an effective job with the characterizations, the delivery, that it gives the book a whole new level of meaning. And then as far as my third book, that's endless. There's so many. I love Wayne Dyer, and I love a book called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, because he took the premise of the Tao and it's broken down into daily bites that you can really grasp. And then there's obviously, the Bible. And I wish that we could get into maybe studying in chapters that in parts of it that aren't as I don't know, talked about. And I'll just say real quick, and then I'll pass it on, because it's a commandment to me that we love ourselves. And when I really realized that, there's a passage where it says, "Love your brother, love your neighbor as you love yourself, as you love yourself." And that just hit me one day, because I was like, how am I loving myself? And I think that's not something that's wrong with the world right now. We are loving our neighbor and one another. I mean, others as we love ourselves, because we have to step into loving ourselves and knowing our worth in order to pour that into other people. And so, yeah, I could go on, but like I said, it's early for me.
No,
I'm
thank
loving the conversation, and I hope someone got something out of what I said. God bless you all.
But outwitting the devil, and as you said, and the audio version actually is so impactful. I listened to that during the lockdown, and that was read it along with it. But it was very, very powerful. And what's going on today? I mean, it's just nothing is new under the sun. And what you said about loving yourself, it's the key. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love your neighbor. And so thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm so happy, Barb, you made it. I had asked Barb to come in a few minutes early because me and Megan would be discussing Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And, one of the final points that I wanted to bring up was the assumptions. I assumed that this book was going to be sad. When my teacher first mentioned it to us, I was like, if it's about the Holocaust, isn't it going to be just really sad and we're going to be crying all the time? I had no idea, Megan. I had no idea, Barbara, that it was really, truly going to uncover so many stories and just that blueprint of bouncing back and how to get through some of the challenges. Think about the fact that this thing was a bestseller. Like, there was no social media. There was none of all of the accoutrements that people use in modern times to have a book become popular. And for people to really be attracted to this book in droves. I mean, I don't think I've met anyone in the self-development space or motivational space in any way that hasn't talked about this book or at least heard of it or mentioned it, if not have already read parts of it. So, Barb, is there any takeaways or anything that comes up for you with Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning?
She may be doing some back office stuff to get ready, but I am going to be the oddball and say I have not read it, but I will ask her today.
Well, there's my copy, Shawnte and Marilyn, it says over 16 million copies sold. And when I saw that, actually that number, it spoke a lot to me. It was saying how, again, it gave hope about the human condition, about how people truly, I mean, there's a lot of people on the planet, that's for sure. And he wrote this in 1946, but the 16 million is a lot of books. And it means that people are questing, searching, seeking, as the title says, Man's Search for Meaning. And that is more important today as it has ever been. And as you said, Dr. Jin, about loving thyself, it's there's a book that I'd love to highlight, and I don't know if Barb is on it, but Eric Metaxas wrote a book called Letter to the American Church. And what he's saying is, and he's quoting throughout it, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was in the German church during the beginning of Adolf Hitler, about what we're talking about here. And this gentleman was crying out, screaming out to the churches of Germany to get involved, to speak about the atrocities that were beginning to happen. And the churches were silent. And we cannot be silent. We cannot. We have to be involved. And that's another reason why these platforms are so important. But there's a quote from this Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was executed. And he was not Jewish, for speaking out. And his quote is, "Silence in the face of evil is itself evil." And I know that that is one of the reasons this book is so powerful and has lived on and will continue to live on, speaking about truth. Yes, his message of the why and hope, it's what it is. And that was his survival, and that is his personal story and his journey. But it's sharing with all of humanity what happened and cannot happen again. And we have to speak out. So this book, Letter to the American Church, I have not read it again, but I have listened to Eric Metaxas's podcast and many times, and he's really a great speaker, author, and thought leader. So I just wanted to share that.
I love that share. And I'm super, just excited that more people will be introduced to this book and all the tenets that are in it. And one of the favorite parts, as far as like quotes go within the book, is I love what he said about, just that whole inner freedom. I keep coming back to that real true overarching message, which is they may imprison like the outside, Meghan. Someone can, if you can't change the external circumstance, then we're challenged to change our internal circumstance, meaning the way that we see ourselves in that situation, the way that we handle that. You can imprison my body, but you can't imprison my mind. I am free to still think the thoughts that I have, to perceive the things that I perceive. You can still be liberated on the inside. Liberation is an inside job first. So even if your outside circumstances can't change right now as a mother, even if your outside circumstances can't change right now as a father, guess what? You're still free on the inside. It's liberation is an inside job. No one can shackle your mind. No one can shackle your emotion, your thoughts, and your views and your perspective. You are still free on the inside. It is the most important type of freedom that you can ever have. And I love the fact that he encourages us, with all of the horrors that were all around him, Viktor Frankl still maintained and understood that he was free. And I love the fact that when he wasn't afraid of that gas chamber, he wasn't afraid of being gassed. He understood that that power still belonged to him. How you feel, how you show up, and the things you think about you is completely an internal job. You're still free to care and love for yourself. So I want to thank you so much, Meghan, for showing up and being a part of this conversation. I'd love to know, before I close with a Martin Luther King quick clip, who was the first person here, because I would love to give them a gift of this book. Mary Lynn, if you happen to know who that is, I would definitely want to know while I get ready to cue us on out of here so we can turn this over on time.
Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance.
That was the words of Dr. King. You guys, your life has ultimate significance. This is me and Meghan's time. Thank you so much, Meghan, for being here. And with that, I'd like to pass the mod mic over to Barbara Majeski. Woo!
Yeah. Well, good morning. And I love that you finished out with one of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s fabulous quotes, because I am always quoting him. One of my favorites is, "It's only in the darkness to which you can see the stars." And that is just really, honestly, one of my grounding mottos. So thank you, Shawnte. Thank you, Meghan. And Mary Lynn, you want to do a quick room reset?
I will. So good morning, guys. Happy Saturday. We are Breakfast with Champions, the Millionaire Breakfast Club, where everybody gets a seat at the table, getting around those who do the things you want to do. We're here Monday through all the time. We had an amazing wins room last night, so thank you for that, guys, who hosted that. And today's Saturday, we've got Sunday, we've got Monday starting at 4 a.m. We've got evening rooms, we've got afternoon rooms. Really, the best thing to do is make sure you are part of the house, the club, the room, whatever this thing is. I always get that confused. And have your notifications on, because we even have a pop-up room coming up later today. We have
people texting me all the time now, hey, can I do a room? And so that is the